St. Louis man viciously attacked by chimps while doing his master's thesis research.
Pets are known for their loyalty, but in the most chilling cases, these trusted animals have turned on their owners in horrific ways.
For 911.
Send the police!
What's the problem?
The chimp killed my friend! He ripped her face off, please! He killed her, please!
From a cat's shocking betrayal to a deadly mountain lion incident, and even a deadly reptile tragedy, we'll take a look at some of the most unbelievable moments when pets became predators. Stick around for these spine-tingling stories that'll make you rethink your pet choices. Let's get started. The wildebeest tragedy. Wildebeest are strong, formidable animals native to Africa's plains, known for their dramatic migrations and powerful stampedes. Despite their wild nature, animal enthusiast Klaus Durinder decided to raise a young wildebeest alongside his other exotic animals, including llamas and emus. Believing that care and attention would tame it, Klaus treated the wildebeest like an oversized pet. However, as the animal grew, its instincts emerged, especially during mating season, making it more aggressive and territorial. Friends cautioned him about the risks, but Klaus remained confident in his animal handling skills. In 2004, tragedy struck when Klaus went to check on his animals and didn't return. His wife eventually found him fatally injured. He had been repeatedly charged by the wildebeest, whose powerful horns and force overwhelmed him. This heartbreaking incident underscores the unpredictability of wild animals and the dangers that come with keeping them as pets, even for experienced handlers. The deer attack. When most people think of deer, they picture peaceful creatures grazing serenely. But these animals can turn surprisingly aggressive, especially during the rutting season when male deer are pumped with testosterone. Gerald Russian, an avid deer enthusiast, kept several European red stags on his property, captivated by their impressive antlers and powerful stature. He often showcased them to visitors, convinced they were as tame as oversized pets. One morning, Gerald entered the deer pen to feed them as usual, but this time, a 500-pound stag, likely feeling territorial due to breeding season, suddenly charged. Using its massive antlers like a battering ram, the stag knocked Gerald down, goring him repeatedly. Neighbors heard the commotion and quickly called for help. But sadly, Gerald succumbed to his injuries before paramedics could stabilize him. His tragic death underscored the dangers of keeping large, unpredictable animals, revealing the wild instincts that even familiar animals can harbor. Python peril. Burmese pythons are among the world's largest snakes, growing up to 20 feet long and weighing over 200 pounds. Though non-venomous, their massive size and strength make them potentially lethal. Duran Hare and Charles Darnell, a Florida couple, tragically experienced this danger firsthand. They owned an 8-foot albino Burmese python, housed in a flimsy makeshift enclosure secured only by a quilt and safety pins, insufficient for such a powerful creature. In 2009, disaster struck when the snake escaped and slithered into the bedroom of their young daughter, Cheyenne. By morning, the parents discovered the unthinkable. The python had coiled around Cheyenne, fatally suffocating her as she slept. Authorities removed the python, which later served in animal control training exercises. Hare and Darnell were charged with child neglect and manslaughter and received 12-year prison sentences, underscoring the grave responsibilities of owning exotic pets. The deadly reptile. Keeping venomous snakes is an exhilarating but dangerous hobby, and when it comes to the black mamba, the risks escalate dramatically. Known as one of the most lethal snakes on Earth, a black mamba's venom can kill a human within hours, causing paralysis and respiratory failure if left untreated. Alita Stacy, an experienced snake enthusiast from Putnam Lake, New York, owned over 70 reptiles, including a black mamba, an ill-fated choice. Despite repeated warnings from friends and family, she felt her expertise would keep her safe. One day, her boyfriend found her unconscious in her reptile room, a tragic scene revealing that the black mamba had escaped its improperly secured enclosure. The snake had bitten her on the forearm, and although emergency responders administered anti-venom, the venom's effects were already too severe, leading to her untimely death. This tragic event highlights the extreme risks of venomous pets and how even minor oversights can have fatal consequences. The deadly cassowary. Cassowaries may resemble oversized turkeys with vivid blue heads, but these birds are anything but ordinary. Known as the world's most dangerous bird, cassowaries can sprint up to 30 miles per hour and wield dagger-like talons on powerful legs. Marvin Hajos, an experienced bird breeder from Texas, kept several cassowaries, trusting his expertise to ensure safety. However, one day while feeding them, Marvin stumbled, alarming one of the cassowaries. Instinctively, the bird attacked, slashing him with its razor-sharp talons. Severely injured, Marvin managed to call 911, but help arrived too late. He had succumbed to his wounds. This tragic incident shocked the community and highlighted the risks of keeping exotic pets. Though these creatures are fascinating, some animals belong in the wild, where their natural instincts can be exercised safely, reminding us of nature's inherent unpredictability. The wapiti incident. Imagine having a wapiti, a rare cross between a red deer and an elk, roaming your backyard, a sight both majestic and awe-inspiring. For Pat MacDonald, an Australian wildlife lover, this was a reality. He marveled at the wapiti's grand antlers and powerful build, often proudly showing it off to family and friends. But one tranquil afternoon, Pat's admiration turned to terror. As he went to feed the wapiti, his wife Mandy and teenage son Ethan heard a sudden, agonizing scream from the yard. Rushing outside, they found Pat on the ground, with the wapiti trampling him in a violent frenzy. Without hesitation, Mandy entered the enclosure, hoping to save her husband. Armed only with a stick, she tried to fend off the wapiti, but it soon turned on her, knocking her down. Ethan quickly ran to call for emergency help, and by chance, a nearby ambulance officer saw the chaos and intervened, distracting the wapiti just long enough for police to tranquilize it. Mandy, bruised and bleeding, was rushed to the hospital and later airlifted to a trauma center. Experts speculated that the wapiti might have been experiencing hormonal shifts or environmental stress, causing its aggression. This incident underscored the inherent dangers of keeping powerful wild animals in domestic spaces. The fatal consequences of owning a bear. Kellyanne Walls had a deep passion for exotic animals and kept several wild pets, including a 350-pound black bear in a cage behind her house. Despite the risks, she believed she had tamed the bear, treating it as part of the family. Neighbors, however, repeatedly warned her about the dangers, which she ignored. One day, while feeding and cleaning the bear's enclosure, it suddenly attacked her without warning. Witnesses, including children, saw the bear maul Kelly in the cage. Neighbors quickly called for help, but by the time authorities arrived, Kelly had suffered fatal injuries. The community was devastated by the loss, and the bear was euthanized. This tragic event sparked widespread debate over the ethics and legality of keeping dangerous wild animals as pets. The monkey rage. Monkeys are often seen as playful and endearing, but they can be surprisingly unpredictable. In Malaysia, 72-year-old Naga Muhammad shared a deep bond with his pet monkey, who helped him collect coconuts from tall palm trees. This was a daily routine, with Naga climbing the trees while the monkey retrieved the coconuts. However, one day, everything changed. Without warning, the monkey turned aggressive, viciously biting Naga's arm with such force that it severed an artery, causing severe bleeding. Due to his age and weakened condition, Naga couldn't stop the blood loss. His son, Mood, grew concerned when his father took too long and went to check on him. He was horrified to find Naga lying in a pool of blood, with the aggressive monkey nearby. The monkey turned on Mood, but he managed to escape and seek help. Authorities captured the animal and later decided to rehabilitate and release it into the wild, highlighting the unpredictable dangers of exotic pets. The deadly bond between Morris and Humphrey. Morris Ellis, a retired Army major with a passion for wildlife, became captivated by a baby hippo named Humphrey. Despite warnings about the dangers of hippos, known to be among Africa's deadliest animals, Maurice believed he shared a special bond with Humphrey. He raised the hippo on his South African farm, even building a dam where they could swim together. As Humphrey grew to nearly 2,500 pounds, Maurice remained confident in their relationship, dismissing past incidents, like when Humphrey injured his nephew, as isolated events. In November 2011, Maurice went to check on Humphrey but never returned. His family later found his body near the river, covered in severe bite wounds. Humphrey had attacked Maurice, and though he didn't eat him, the injuries led to his death. This tragedy highlighted the unpredictable nature of wild animals, no matter how domesticated they appear. The chilling encounter with a black widow spider. Mark Vogel, a German insect enthusiast, had a deep passion for creepy, crawly creatures. His apartment resembled a mini zoo, housing over 200 exotic animals, including rare beetles and venomous spiders. One of his prized possessions was a black widow spider, known for its deadly venom. Mark, an expert in arachnids, took great pride in caring for his collection. However, his fascination with dangerous creatures ultimately led to tragedy. While handling the black widow, Mark was bitten. At first, he brushed off the bite, thinking it was minor, but the venom's effects were severe. It caused intense pain, muscle cramps, and, if untreated, death. Living alone, Mark had no one to assist him as the venom spread through his body, paralyzing him. After several weeks of absence, neighbors became suspicious of the smell coming from his apartment. When police arrived for a welfare check, they discovered Mark's body, surrounded by his starved, once-beloved pets. His death served as a tragic reminder of the dangers of keeping venomous creatures at home. The tragic attack of Travis the chimpanzee. Travis the chimpanzee was more than just a pet to Sandra and Jerome Harold. He was like a child to them. Sandra had raised Travis since he was a baby, and he became a local celebrity in their Connecticut neighborhood, appearing in TV commercials. After Jerome passed away, Sandra grew even closer to Travis, relying on him for emotional support. Despite Travis's mischievous behavior and past escapes, Sandra believed she could control him. One day, after giving Travis medication for Lyme disease, Sandra called her friend Charla Nash for help, thinking her presence would calm him. However, Travis became agitated by the unfamiliar person. Without warning, he attacked Charla, severely injuring her. Sandra tried to intervene, even stabbing Travis, but he turned on her. The police were forced to shoot Travis to stop the attack. Charla's injuries required multiple surgeries, including a face transplant, and the incident sparked calls for stricter pet regulations. The hidden tiger of Harlem. Imagine discovering that your neighbor has been living with a full-grown tiger in their apartment. That was the shocking reality in Harlem, where Antoine Yates, an exotic animal lover, secretly kept a Siberian Bengal tiger named Ming in his small, high-rise unit. Despite the obvious dangers, Antoine's fascination with big cats led him to keep one as a pet, and for a long time no one suspected a thing. However, things took a dramatic turn when Antoine showed up at a hospital with severe arm injuries. He claimed a pit bull attack, but the wounds told a different story. The hospital staff, suspicious of his explanation, alerted authorities. A month later, an anonymous tip led police to his apartment, where they were stunned to find Ming pacing agitatedly inside. The rescue operation was delicate, requiring tranquilizers to safely subdue the tiger. Antoine, still in disbelief, argued she was just a scared animal. Ming was eventually relocated to a sanctuary in Ohio, where she could roam freely in a more fitting environment. The catastrophic cat incident. After her husband left, Janet V's world became centered on her cats and dogs. These pets were her family, providing her with companionship and comfort as she embraced a reclusive lifestyle. Janet rarely ventured outside or engaged with neighbors, making her pets the sole source of warmth in her life. Weeks passed without sight of her, and her neighbors grew concerned, noticing her mailbox filled with unopened letters. They eventually called the police, who struggled to access her cluttered home. Climbing through a window, officers discovered a tragic scene. Janet had died from an apparent medical emergency, her body undiscovered for days. Left with no food, a few of her cats had been driven to desperate measures, consuming parts of her body. The surviving animals were soon taken to a shelter and, despite the trauma, many were later adopted into new homes. This sorrowful story emphasizes the importance of community care for those living alone. The mountain lion dilemma. Mountain lions, also known as cougars or pumas, are fierce predators suited for the wild, not a household pet. Despite this, Amber Michelle Couch from Texas believed she could manage one. Texas law does permit mountain lion ownership with proper permits, vaccinations and health checks, yet Amber ignored these legal requirements. Her mountain lion was unvaccinated, confined to a small, stressful cage. Family and friends repeatedly warned her about the risks, but she dismissed their concerns. One day, Amber's young nephew visited and, fascinated by the massive cat, got too close to the cage. Agitated by its cramped space, the lion lunged through the bars, biting the boy's face and leaving him with severe injuries. The child was rushed to the hospital, where he faced multiple surgeries for facial reconstruction. Outraged, the community pushed for action. Authorities seized the mountain lion, banned Amber from owning exotic animals, and ultimately euthanized the cat due to its danger to public safety. The monitor lizard tragedy. Monitor lizards are large, powerful carnivores known for their sharp claws, strong tails, and aggressive tendencies. Growing up to 8 feet, they pose challenges even for experienced reptile keepers. Ronald Huff, a Delaware reptile enthusiast, had several of these lizards in his apartment, ignoring his family's concerns about their dangers. After days without contact, a neighbor requested a welfare check, leading police to a horrifying scene. Huff lay lifeless on the floor, surrounded by his monitor lizards, which had begun feeding on him. Authorities suspected Huff may have died suddenly, leaving the hungry lizards to turn on him. This tragic incident underscores the inherent risks of keeping exotic pets. Monitor lizards, when deprived of food, can exhibit aggressive, predatory behavior, showing that even experienced keepers can misjudge these wild creatures' instincts. Huff's story is a chilling reminder of the dangers that come with underestimating exotic pets. The fatal fury of Scarface. Pit bulls are often misunderstood and wrongly labeled as aggressive, but Scarface, a pit bull adopted by Brenda and Ishmael Guerrero, tragically lived up to this stereotype. Scarface was a rescue with a troubled past, and the Guerreros hoped their love would help him heal. While he had shown improvement one day, Brenda tried to put a sweater on him to protect him from the cold. Feeling threatened or uncomfortable, Scarface snapped and viciously bit her arm. Ishmael rushed to her aid, but Scarface turned on him next. Their son, desperate to protect his parents, tried to fight off the dog with a kitchen knife, but Scarface's rage only intensified. Neighbors called 911, and when responders arrived, they found a bloody scene. Despite efforts to subdue him, including a taser, Scarface was eventually tranquilized and euthanized. Mrs. Guerrero sustained serious injuries and faced a long recovery. The grizzly bear attack on Timothy Treadwell. Timothy Treadwell, known as the Grizzly Man, was a self-proclaimed bear enthusiast who spent 13 summers living among the grizzly bears of Alaska's Katmai National Park. He believed he had formed a unique bond with the wild animals, documenting his interactions with them. His unorthodox methods sparked controversy. While some admired his passion for wildlife, others criticized his risky behavior, which put both him and the bears in danger. In 2003, Treadwell returned for his final visit, bringing his girlfriend Amy Huguenard along. As fall approached, the bears were becoming more aggressive due to hunger as food grew scarce. Despite warnings from park officials, Treadwell and Amy set up camp near a bear trail. One night, a bear entered their campsite, likely driven by hunger, and attacked. Despite Treadwell's efforts to protect Amy, the grizzly overpowered them both. The next day, an air taxi pilot found their campsite in disarray. The authorities discovered their remains, and the bear responsible was shot. A tape recorder was found with audio of their final moments, though it was never released due to its disturbing nature. The incident became a grim reminder of the dangers of interacting with wild animals. The tragic fate of Harry and Sally. Harry and Sally, two inseparable pugs from Omaha, were beloved by their owner and the neighborhood. They were often seen on daily walks, bringing joy to those around them. However, their bond was tragically tested when their owner suddenly passed away at home. Left alone without food or water, the pugs faced days of hunger and desperation. With no way to seek help, their fight for survival led them to an unimaginable act. They began feeding on their deceased owner. The heartbreaking scene was discovered when concerned neighbors, noticing the prolonged silence, alerted authorities. Upon entering the home, police found the emaciated pugs, a stark reminder of their desperation. Harry and Sally were rescued and cared for by the Nebraska Humane Society before being adopted by a loving family in Indiana. This tragic story highlights the importance of ensuring pets' well-being in the event of their owner's death. Thanks for watching. If you found these stories shocking, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more unbelievable tales. Share this video with friends and let us know your thoughts in the comments.